Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. So if you've been around for a minute, you know that one of my least favorite fragrances ever is Joop Homme. The OG Joop Homme. This dude right here. Just look at it. It's disgusting. This pink monstrosity, this dealer of death.
I am death.
To the olfactive senses. Yeah, not a fan. Now, I'll give it its props in that it's kind of a classic at this point. Yeah, some people would argue a masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
It is very affordable. It's strong. You know, when it came out, it smelled unique. I'm trying to think of something positive to say there. It smelled unique. And to be fair, it's inspired some other fragrances as well. Not as many as something like Paco Rabanne's Invictus, but you can find that Joop sweetness scattered across a few other fragrances out there. Even the House of Creed has one with original Santal. The Joop is way more affordable. Or maybe you want to call it Joop. Shout out to all you dudes out there that call it Joop. Can't tell you how many times I've heard that over the years. You like Joop? Nah.
No, I don't. I don't.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the original Joop, even though it's a fragrance that's been around for a minute, that a lot of people have worn as a signature scent or a clubbing fragrance, a big clubbing fragrance over the years. Even at times I've tried to convince myself, oh, it's not that bad, yeah. And then I come back around to just hating it again. But Joop does have good fragrances. It's not just Joop Homme Eau de Toilette. They have some other ones like Joop Homme Ice that I thought was good for the price. Wow is not too bad, Wow Fresh. So with this in mind, I was like, well, Joop Homme Le Parfum showed up on Fragrance Buy's website. Let's check it out. I have, and we're gonna talk about it. So this one was about 45, 46 bucks US. Fluctuates a little bit depending on conversion rate at the time. So it could be a little higher than that, a little bit lower than that. So yeah, linked down below in case you want to check it out down there. But I was interested in this one. Not because of my overwhelming hate for Joop Homme Eau de Toilette and, you know, my desire to just crap on something. No, you know, I had some notes in there that I gravitate toward. Iris being the main one. There's praline in there, vanilla. And with it heading into fall and winter, I was like, maybe this is gonna be kind of a little hidden gem, if you wanna call it that. So let's go ahead and let's check out the presentation here really quickly. Not too much to go over. And we can finally start talking about this right here and whether you need to check it out or not. So here you got the box, pretty simple. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house right there on the front. 4.2 ounce size bottle, 125 mils. You have the Joop logo up top. Ingredients on one side of the box, and then Joop fragrances on the other side. Nothing on the back. On the bottom, your badge code and your barcode. Mine is 3158. Here's the bottle. It's, yeah, pretty much just your standard Joop bottle, you know. And looking at it gives me nightmares, but it's not the original. I just tell myself that over and over. This one differs a little bit with this gold writing on the front. Bottle shape fits the hand really well. The cap slides into place. Does not click. You got a sticker on the bottom with your badge code. Let's go ahead, spray out a couple sprays. All right, let's do this. On the hand again. Atomizer's fine, gets the job done. So typically with Joop fragrances, I would tell you, wait until it goes down even further in price, because things like Joop Homme Ice, Joop Wow, the ones I mentioned before, sometimes you can get those around $20, which is, I think, a great deal for those ones. This one though, I don't know if it's gonna reach down to those levels in terms of pricing. And I'll tell you why. It's because this fragrance is actually friggin' awesome. I think if this was not a Joop fragrance, if this were released by Emporio Armani or Jean Paul Gaultier or something like that, that this would get a lot of hype, at least within the fragrance sphere, the fragrance community. Your average person, obviously, not gonna know too much about Joop Homme Le Parfum in the United States. Well, you guys will, because you guys, you're smart.
Wow, I'm so smart.
But yeah, if this were released by a bigger brand, then I think this would be a bit of a hype beast, because this thing is just about the perfect match of giving you a little something that is more fragrance enthusiast with your average everyday man's sweet vanilla compliment puller. It's like taking these two things and just putting it together. So when you first spray this one on your skin, you get hit with a good dose of iris. Got a nice amount of sweetness in there. It's a little bit airy as well. Maybe like a somewhat slightly fresher version than what you'll find in fragrances like Valentino Uomo Intense or the original Dior Homme Intense. So it's got a little bit of that makeup vibe, but it's not quite as heavy as those ones. And while, yes, as I said, it has a good amount of sweetness in there, it's thankfully not as aggressively cheap and synthetic smelling as the original Joop Homme. This one smells much higher quality. So it's smoother, you don't get a big alcohol punch off the top or anything like that. It just goes on right away, smooth, a little creamy and sweet. It smells classy, it smells sophisticated with kind of a playful edge to it. There's a touch of lavender in there, but really that iris is what's gonna grab your attention as soon as you spray this one on. As it dries down, the praline comes out, especially in the mid, and it starts to remind you vaguely of like if the Emporio Armani Stronger With You line did a flanker that was Stronger With You Iris or something like that. That's kind of how it smells in the mid. So you get this great mix of iris, this sort of warm, gourmand, chocolatey praline note, you know, a little bit of like an ambery undertone to that as well. And then once you hit the dry down, the vanilla really becomes the focal point of the fragrance. So you get this changing of the seasons, changing of the guard as the fragrance goes from opening to mid to dry down. It stays consistent with the theme, the idea of the fragrance, but you have a different fragrance in each one of those stages as compared to some scents that are pretty much the same from the opening into the dry down, or, you know, they're different for the first 5 minutes and then once that settles, it's the same the whole way through. This one has discernible stages that you can pick up. It does get a little bit more powdery as it dries down once that praline kind of steps back and the iris steps back and the vanilla becomes the main focal point of the fragrance. It gets a little bit more powdery at that point, but it's never overly powdery. And even though it does have some similarities to things like Valentino Uomo, like Dior Homme, and even like Stronger With You, it doesn't smell like a one-to-one of any of those. So it's basically one of those fragrances where you would say, well, do you like that one? Well, then you'll like this one. In the opening, it's closer to those iris fragrances. In the mid, it's closer to basically Stronger With You Iris version, edition, exclusive Middle Eastern release. And then in the dry down, more of that, that vanilla. But still, it smells great. I really, really, really dig this one. I think for like 45 bucks, like I said, what it was going for when I got my bottle, yeah, just all day, every day. If it goes lower than that, it becomes a stupid steal at that point. As I kind of mentioned earlier with the pricing here, I don't know it'll go too much lower for a few different reasons. One, the quality is there. It smells awesome, vague similarities to some other really popular fragrances. And I think that as more people get their nose on it, more people are gonna want it. And then two, these fragrances sometimes don't have great distribution in the US at discounters. Yeah, no, distribution at discounters, right? But some Joop fragrances can be difficult to find. I mean, there have been some fragrances, Joop fragrances that were announced over the years where I was like, oh, well, when I see that at a discounter, I'll pick it up. And then I just never saw it at a discounter. Or when I did, it was there and then sold out and then just never really popped back up. And some of the other ones like Absolute, you know, Joop Absolute, that one sometimes is difficult to find. And I think this one is way better than Absolute. So there's that kind of risk that maybe it's a pain in the butt sometimes to locate. And if that's the thing that happens here, then the pricing probably isn't gonna drop as much as some of the other flankers that were maybe not in as much demand. In terms of seasons, this is gonna be, like I said earlier, more fall and winter time kind of scent, more of an evening scent, I think a lot of people would say, but I'd wear it daytime or evening. And performance, really good. This stuff off my skin lasts forever. The projection is good as well. The longevity is maybe a little bit stronger than what the projection is, but the projection not like full on beast mode, but still projects well enough that you can easily pick it up as you move around and people are gonna be able to smell it off you pretty easy as well. It's a different style of performance than the original Joop Homme, because that one is just like, off my skin anyway, a screechy projector. Like, it is a heavy, heavy projector. You know, it's all like top end, really just sharp, syrupy, sweet. Some of those spices in there like fall to the wayside when it projects out almost. So it's like, this one is much smoother. It doesn't feel like it's as aggressively assaulting to the senses, which makes sense because that kind of, you know, puts it in line with a lot of fragrances that have come out here lately that have good projection, very solid, but that are more like warm and cozy and kind of inviting, sexy type scent profiles instead of just like smash you over the head. Kind of what's going on here with this one. So yeah, Joop Le Parfum, this stuff, like iris-based fragrances, and you want one that has a little bit of that stronger with you, scandal type of, yeah, caramel toffee kind of sweetness, then check this out. Because that's basically what this is. An iris fragrance, a makeup-y iris, just not as heavy with the makeup, with that kind of caramel toffee praline, obviously, slapped in there. Again, I truly think if this were not a Joop fragrance, if it were from a bigger brand, that this would have a pretty big hype train behind it, at least within the fragrance community itself. Maybe not as much with your average everyday person. That's gonna be more like YSL Myself or even Le Male Elixir, but this definitely should have a place in a lot of people's collections. I think easily for me, at this point, this is my favorite thing that Joop has ever done. Am I a sucker for iris fragrances? Yes, I am. Do I also like fragrances that are coming out nowadays, a little more vanilla, praline, toffee, hazelnut, chestnut, etc., etc.? Yes, I like those too. So for me, it's kind of like two things I'm really enjoying right now, just put together. All right, there we go. Joop Homme Le Parfum. Check this out. Don't let the name scare you away. And I didn't say this before, but it should go without saying, it smells nothing like the Eau de Toilette. This has nothing to do with it. Literally nothing. Just shares a name, shares a bottle. So if you were hoping for like a more grown-up version of the original, sorry, it's not even related to it really, but for me, that's a good thing. There we go, guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.